I'm going to show you exactly how you can determine whether or not the points that you're redeeming, whether it be for a hotel room, merchandise, or an airline flight, are actually a good value or you're getting ripped off. I spent over $1 million on credit cards in just 1 year. Let my experience help you get out of debt and use credit cards to your advantage. Now let's get into this video. Don't think that just because you're using the points that you accrued from a credit card and you're obtaining something that it's a good value because you might think that it's free. What we like to do is use 2% as a marker, meaning a lot of credit cards will give you cash back, 1% cash back, 1.5% cash back. 2% on all categories is typically as high as they go. You can get more cash back, but usually it's specific categories. But for a catch-all card, 2% cash back. So why would you use a credit card and get miles for flights if when you redeem your miles for flights, you're only getting a value of 1% or 1.5%? You wouldn't. You would rather just use a cash card. So for me, I only use my points if I'm getting 2% or more in value when I redeem the points for something like a flight or a hotel room. I have many videos that go into detail on exactly how to do that. However, I created a calculator that does all the work for you. It will be in the description of this video. You can just click, go to the calculator, and I'm going to walk you through an example using Marriott and using Marriott Bonvoy points to redeem a room and to show you how you simply put in the information in the calculator, hit the button, and it'll tell you what percentage of value you're getting. Less than 2%, not a good value in my opinion. Greater than 2%, go for it. So how would you use this?
The first thing I want to do is explain how this calculator works. There's a link to the website, and it's a calculator to value points or miles and compare them to cash. So what we're trying to say is, if you have a card that's giving you points or a card that's giving you miles, and then they allow you to redeem them for something like a room, a hotel room, or a flight, what value are you getting? You might say, oh, it's 30,000 points. Well, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. How do you do that? So we came up with this calculator here that does the math for you. Let me tell you what the goal is. The goal is to get more than 2%. We're going to see a result here, and I'll give you an example in a second. And then we're going to show you actual examples off of the Marriott site and the United site. So we say aim for more than 2%. Why do we say that? Well, a cashback card that gives you cash back in all categories will give you 2% is the best you can usually find. You might find 1, you might find 1.5. Sometimes you'll find more. We have cards that'll give 4, 5, or 6, but they're specific categories. But if you want a cashback card that no matter what you buy, it gives you a flat amount back in cash, it's 2%. So this particular card, like Marriott or United, they could have said, here's cash back. But instead they said, no, we're going to have you earn points or have you earn miles. Why are they doing that? Because they hope that they're going to pay you out less than 2%, that you're going to redeem your points or your miles for less than 2%. So it's better for them to use the points or the miles if that's how you're redeeming it. So you want to get a value greater than 2%. If you don't get a value greater than 2%, then you might as well use the cash price. Let me give an example. Let's say that you have a card, hotel card, and they say you can have this hotel room. It's $200 for one night. So here you enter the price of a room or airfare. Then they say, okay, points or miles. So it might say on the site that for 30,000 points or $200. What do you want to do? You want to redeem your points or you want to give us cash? And you say, well, gosh, I don't know. Is that a good deal? Last thing here is called the point multiplier. Cards will say to you, for every dollar you spend, you get, and it usually says like 1x, 2x, 3x. It means for every dollar you spent, you get 1 point or 1 mile. A 2x card means for every dollar you spend, you get 2 points or 2 miles. So in this case, a Marriott card, the only one I recommend, will give you 2 points per mile spent. So on the site, it says, what do you want to do? Give us $200 or 30,000 points? And you have a 2x card. Let's find out. 1.33. That means that you might as well go ahead and book the room for cash because the value isn't that great. They're giving you 1.33%. In other words, if they had a cash card, they would only be paying out 1.3% instead of 2%. Well, if this is the case, you might as well have just used a different credit card, right? Because you could have gotten a credit card with 2% cash back and then just paid the cash price. So in this instance, I would say go ahead and just pay the cash price and try to get a value in the future greater than 2%. Let's give an example, $200 room, but it says, you know what? We have a sale going on. It's only going to be 15,000 points. You have a card that gives you 2 points per dollar spent. Let's calculate and see what that is. Aha, 2.67. So in this instance, since it's greater than 2, you're not going to find a card that gives you 2.67% cash back on all categories. So you might as well, in this case, go ahead and use the miles. Go ahead and redeem 15,000 miles because you're getting the equivalent of a 2.6% card. It's as if you had a card paying you 2.67% cash back on all categories. You received your cash back and then you booked the room. So in this case, go ahead and use the points because it's a good value. Now let's get into the specific examples. All right, so here we go. I've already logged into, this happens to be Marriott Bonvoy, and we're going to look at Las Vegas, Nevada, trying to find a hotel, want to book a room using points. We want to find out what kind of value we're going to get. I just happened to pick a date in the future, February 5th, February 8th. You can scroll down and you can see that they will show you the value, or the cost, I should say, in points, 126,000, and or dollar amount, $499. So let's take a look at this one. View the rates. So here you can see that the lowest rate you're going to get is $473. Points, 126,000. Go over to the calculator, put in $473, and then it was 126,000 points. You put the points here. You can see here, you put the price of the room, the airfare, whatever it is in dollars, and then how many points or miles. And then this is the point multiplier. So what you do here is if you're getting 1 point for every dollar spent, then you put a 1. If you're getting 2 points for every dollar spent, you put a 2. Over here you can see, I happen to give the example of Marriott Bonvoy because they do have a card that's 1x and one that's 2x. The only one I would recommend is the 2x, if any of them. I actually have it. So here you go. What do? You hit calculate. Now we do the calculation for you. The result is 0.75%. That's the cash card equivalent. So what that means is if you would use a cash card and purchase some items and you got some reward cash back, you would have had essentially a 0.75% card. That's terrible because you can get cards that are 2% cash back. So you want this result to be 2% or higher. So let's try another room. That's not one we would want to book because you're not getting a good value in terms of what they're giving you as a redemption rate. So we want to try to find something, let's see, 138,000, 177,000. Wow, these are really pricey. It is Las Vegas, but it's in the middle of the week. I thought I'd get some low ones. Oh, what the heck? Let's try this one. 113,000 points, $312. $312, 113,000 points, and we have a 2x card. Calculate it, 0.55. Good grief, not even 0.5%. That's terrible. But that's how easy this calculator is to use. Now, I also threw up United. I love the United card. Now, I picked here on United, same dates, middle of the week, and I said, let's look at money. So let's scroll down here, and I like this one. It's United, it's 1499, $278 for economy. So it's $278 for the economy flight. You put the dollar amount. Okay, $278 for flight 1499. Now let's switch it and look at what they would charge us if we wanted to use miles. Flight 1499 economy. Oh, first one, flight 1499. Yep, that's the one. 6:15 p.m. 7,500 miles plus $5.60. Sometimes they have to add a small amount. You'll see it's like $5.60 on everything. No matter what, it's some sort of a tax that for some reason they got to charge you $5 for. Not a big deal. 7,500 miles. So we could pay 278 out of pocket, or we could use our United miles. Now on my card, it used to be a 1.5 per mile. In other words, I used to get 1.5, I'm sorry, I used to get 1.5 miles per dollar spent. Now I just get one. They downgraded it. I might switch to another card. They do have one that's 1.5. Oh, I'm sorry. They said it was 7,500 points. So I have the option. Do I want to pay 278 out of pocket? Or do I want to use 7,500 points? I'm getting 1 point for every dollar spent. I calculate. Wow. Look at that. 3.71%. Now that's what we're talking about, right? That means that you're getting a value of 3.71. We want to get anything greater than 2% because this is the equivalent of having spent money with your card, having a card that gives you 3.7% cash back on all your categories. That doesn't happen. You're not going to find a card that gives you 3.7. So in other words, it's better to use the miles than to pay $278 because you're getting almost 4%. That's twice as good as a 2% cashback card. So there's a great example of how you can use this calculator to put in the price, the miles equivalent, the multiplier, and then, in other words, what are you getting per point? Hit calculate, and there you go. Does it for you. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you use it so that you can make sure that you're getting at least 2% in value or more. And I go into more definition and explanations here on the site itself. I'll put a link at the bottom in the description, and please use this calculator. You can put in merchandise as well. If, for example, you're at a site and they say, oh, it's 100,000 points or it's $200 for this item, and you might say, okay, well, 100,000 points or $200. What do I want to do? Well, 0.2%, good grief. I think I'll just go ahead and pay $200 because it's not worth it. I'm only getting 2.2% in value.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you find this video helpful. If so, please subscribe and hit that like button. Add some comments or questions if you have them. Thank you very much.